Good evening. The AGM is being held through video conferencing facility in accordance with the circulars issued by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs and applicable provisions of Companies Act and SEBI regulations. The proceedings of this meeting are being recorded as per the regulatory requirements. The annual report, along with the notice and the instructions for e-voting and participation in the AGM, has been sent to the members by email as permitted by the circulars issued by MCA and SEBI. The notice is also available on the website of the company. We request you to make note of the following for the smooth conduct of the meeting. The interaction of the members at the AGM has been made available on the first come, first served basis. All the shareholders will be placed on the listen only mode. The audio and the video will be unmuted by the moderator during the Q&A session for those shareholders who have registered themselves as a speaker as per their sequence. In case the speaker is unable to speak or there is a technical lag, we would move to the next speaker. Would request the speaker shareholders to limit their conversation to 3 minutes. I now request our Executive Group Chairperson, Mr. Srinivasan K. Swamy, to initiate the proceedings of the AGM.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Board of Directors and Management of RK Swamy Limited, this is Srinivasan K. Swamy, Executive Group Chairman, extending to you all a warm welcome for this 51st Annual General Meeting of the company. I also take this opportunity to greet you all on this Raksha Bandhan Day. Before we start the main proceedings of the meeting, I'd like to introduce to you the members of the board, key managerial personnel, compliance officer, statutory and secretarial auditors present with us today. First, let me introduce Narasimhan Krishna Swamy, also known as Shekhar Swamy, Managing Director and Group CEO of the company, joining us from a corporate office in Mumbai. Next would be Sangeeta Narasimhan, Full-time Director and CEO of the company, joining us from the corporate office in Mumbai. I have pleasure to introduce Mrs. Nalini Padmanabhan, Independent Director and Chairperson of the Audit Committee, who is joining us from the registered office in Chennai. Next would be Mr. T.T. Srinivasa Raghavan, Independent Director, member of the Nomination and Remuneration Committee, Audit Committee, joining us from his residence in Chennai. I would now introduce Mr. Sunil Sethi, Independent Director, Chairperson of Risk Management Committee and Stakeholders Committee, who is joining us from his residence in Goa. I have with me Rajagopalan Desikan, Company Secretary, who is joining us from a registered office in Chennai. I also have pleasure to introduce our Group CFO, Rajiv Niwar, who is joining us from the corporate office in Mumbai. Next would be Ms. Aparna Bhatt, Compliance Officer. She joins from a corporate office in Mumbai. We have in attendance representatives of Deloitte Haskins & Sells, statutory auditors of the company for fiscal year 23-24, and representatives of S. Dhanapal & Associates LLP, secretarial auditors of the company, and the scrutinizer for e-voting process at this AGM. I'd like to share that Mr. Rajiv Vastupal Mehta, Independent Director and Chairperson of the Nomination and Remuneration Committee, has sought leave of absence from this meeting. Similarly, Dr. Pattabhiraman, Nominee Director of Evanston Pioneer Fund LP, has sought leave of absence from attending this meeting. I now would request Company Secretary R. Desikan to confirm the presence of quorum for this meeting. Desikan, you're on mute. Unmute yourself.
Thank you, Chairman, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. I confirm that required quorum as per the Companies Act 2013 is present. Further, the company has received one representation request under Section 113 of the Companies Act 2013 covering 17,95,806 equity shares representing 3.56 of the total paid up capital. Thank you, Chairman. Take over, Chairman.
Since the requisite quorum is present, I now call the meeting to order. Your company started its operations in April 1973. We therefore turned 50 years in April 2023, which was the start of the financial year 23-24. What better way to celebrate our golden jubilee than to become a listed entity? We've been very fortunate to achieve this significant milestone last year. What is even more gratifying is the fact that it is the largest Indian-owned integrated marketing services provider in the country. And interestingly, when we became a listed entity on 12th April 2024, we are the first company to do so in our industry, the main stock exchange boards of India. Between RK Swamy Limited and our only one subsidiaries ANSA Custom Equity and ANSA Research, we have organized effectively our portfolio of services comprising content development, media planning and buying, healthcare communication and continuing medical education, digital and interactive communication, events and activation, public relations, data analytics using artificial intelligence and MarTech, large-scale customer experience centers, full-service marketing research comprising qualitative and quantitative techniques, use of computer-aided telephone interviews, etc. All of them focused on helping a client succeed well in the marketplace by strengthening our own client relationships. We are happy to note that our efforts have also helped us deliver the best ever financial performance of the company in the past year. Our focus on integrated marketing solution has allowed us to offer our clients a seamless and comprehensive service that addresses all aspects of our marketing needs. This approach has not only differentiated us in the marketplace, but also has positioned us as a trusted partner for many of India's leading brands. I'm happy to add that we have undertaken several strategic initiatives in the past to enhance the service offerings and operational efficiency. These initiatives are already yielding positive results, enabling us to offer more personalized and effective marketing solutions to our clients. Going forward, we are committed to further invest in these capabilities as our IPO proceeds are intended just for such objectives. We'll invest more in technology, bolster our data analytics capabilities, expand our customer experience centers, enhance our capacity on computer-aided research techniques, and strengthen our creative and digital marketing competence. We are confident that we'll be ready to reap the rewards due to changes taking place in the market. I now request Mr. Rajiv Niwar, our Group CFO, to make a presentation of the financials of the company.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, and a very happy Raksha Bandhan to all our sisters out there. Hello, am I audible? Just reconfirming.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. So, fiscal 2024 has been a milestone year for us. We are, on one hand, happy with the progress that we have made and also excited about the opportunities that lie ahead of us. Without much ado, let's delve into the presentation where we will walk you through our financial performance to reflect on what your company has accomplished in the year that has just gone by, fiscal 2024. Next slide, please. Yeah. So as you will see from the slide, sorry, can you go back to the previous slide, please? This business has been in existence for over 5 decades. There are very few businesses that can boast of such a statement. And more importantly, and this is the first integrated marketing services company to list on both BSE and NSE in India. So that makes it an important year for us, year 2024. Next slide, please. This is a standard forward-looking statement slide, which is self-explanatory. So I'll move on to the next slide. As a group, we offer a wide array of marketing services, be it the integrated marketing communication services, be it the customer data analytics and MarTech, or full-service market research. Collectively, we refer all these services commonly as what we call as the integrated marketing services. Over time, we have been able to leverage our capabilities effectively to build long-standing, meaningful relationships with our clients. And more importantly, from a client's perspective, they get all these services under a single platform. Next slide, please. This slide basically gives you a high-level dashboard of how we performed in the year that just went by. The total income, as you will see on the first block on the left-hand side, top left, was about 335 crores. With a 70% gross margin, This translates to a gross margin of rupees 233 crores in absolute terms. So this business has always been a business where we have been able to deliver high gross margins. Net of people and establishment costs, the EBITDA stood at rupees 74 crores, which in percentage terms is 22%. And this margin has been growing steadily over the last couple of years. Over time, we have been able to progressively pay down our borrowings, and we were actually debt-free at the year end. Resultantly, the waterfall from the EBITDA to PBT has been healthy, resulting in a PBT of 53 crores and a PAT of almost 40 crores, and at a margin which has been improving year on year. The return on capital employed post-IPO was almost at 17%. Next slide, please. This slide basically compares the performance of fiscal 2024 with fiscal 2023. Now, what you will observe from this slide is that at the revenue level, the company has grown by almost 13%. At the EBITDA level, your company has grown by 18%. And at a PAT level, the company has grown by 27%. Being a relatively healthy gross margin business, typically when the revenue grows accompanied with growth in cost at a lesser pace, the EBITDA margins tend to improve. And that's what has been our endeavor if you will pick up our financials for the last many years. I would also like to draw your attention to the last row of the slide, which suggests that the EPS has improved from rupees 7.03 per equity share in fiscal 2023 to rupees 8.86 per share in 2024. Next slide, please. This slide again gives you a high-level dashboard on how we performed in Q1 of fiscal 2025. Now, traditionally, Q1 is a lean quarter for us. Notwithstanding that, we are happy with the way things have shaped out for us. Can we move to the next slide for a better understanding? This slide will tell you that the total income has grown in double digits, which is 11%. Net of people and establishment cost, the EBITDA has again grown by 27%. And now that our net leverage is nil, the flow through from EBITDA to PBT has been positive. And though on a smaller base, the PBT as well as the PAT have grown multifold. Thank you, and look forward to your ongoing commitment. I would now like to conclude my presentation and hand over the proceedings back to the chairman. Thank you.
Thanks, Rajiv. I now request Shekhar Swamy, Managing Director and Group CEO, to address the members. You're muted.
Yeah. Namaskaram to all the members of Swamy Limited who are gathered here for the meeting. Thank you all for being here. It shows your interest in the affairs of the company, and we are grateful for that. As you all know, this is the first public AGM of the company. It is good to be here talking to you. This is a meeting that is a matter of law and compliance. We have some business to transact. We'll follow the agenda and conclude that. But I think we can go past that. Given that we have you here for the first time in such a forum, I want to take the opportunity to give you a sense of what this company is about and where we are coming from. This is not about the numbers, the revenue and profit and margins and growth rate. That is already covered. I want to go beyond that
or go behind it, lift the veil a bit, and share the worldview that we have that is driving the organization of over 2,500 professionals and associates, with an aim to add to that number in time to come. Allow me to share with you, in brief, what we believe. First and foremost, we believe in India, both the country called India and the market called India. This is not some nationalistic flag waving. It is core business strategy. At the country level, we believe that what we do, our disciplines and our capability, is important and can make a difference to the nation. We have demonstrated this repeatedly, time and time again in the past, through the projects we have executed. This is why we have consistently pursued opportunities to work with both private and public institutions at the foundation of the nation. As for the market called India, there are multiple layers to it. The Indian market is perhaps the most complicated, diverse, challenging, confusing, textured, rewarding, large market in the world. There is no other like it. As a marketing environment, it is bewildering while it can be simple, depending on how one is able to read it. Your company is providing marketing services in this complex market. Simply given the overall marketplace that we operate in and the range and depth of marketing problems that clients have to address, while there may be latest bright and shiny objects that come and go, our core services will always be in demand. Of course, we need to be nimble and spot the opportunities and indeed take advantage of the opportunities. This makes it most interesting for professionals like us, and we thrive in this challenge. Like a master surgeon who revels in successfully completing intricate surgeries and seeing the patients get well, we rise to the occasion whenever clients ask us to deal with complex marketing situations and somehow expect us to deliver. And we do indeed deliver, and we have done this time and time again. In a more narrow view, there is the market for marketing services itself, estimated by industry reports at over rupees 18,000 crores and growing. I'm referring to our own space. The unfortunate and fortunate part of our business is the same, that our space is mostly multinationalized. Half a dozen multinational holding companies have bought out most of the leading players in our industry, and this is our competition. The unfortunate part is this: there was really no need for this sector to have capitulated and fallen into multinational hands, and that is my personal opinion. I rue this for the country. This has not happened in our industry in countries like Japan, China, or Korea, the only other large economies worth comparing with. In fact, many services sectors in our country have been captured by multinationals, a development that needs policy debate in the context of an Atmanirbhar India. This is not the time or forum for that discussion. The fortunate part of this situation is for us that we compete primarily with multinationals in our sector. We welcome this competition. I say this is fortunate because this leaves us as among a few capable Indian players rooted here with a deep and abiding interest in this market. The multinationals are primarily here to serve their multinational clients. Their top talent is directed to serving their multinational clients. Our top talent, and indeed all our resources, is directed to support our clients drawn mostly from here. It leaves us free to invest at will, to learn more and more about the Indian market and apply such learning to further the interests of our clients. The multinationals simply do not invest in the market. The competition has left the space mostly open for us to do so, and we can reap the long-term benefits of this investment and learning. Second, we believe in being contrarian in our business pursuits. Without this thought process, we would not be here. This is why we have turned down multiple offers over the years to be bought out by the same multinationals that I talked about. Our contrarian approach has built a suite of world-class capabilities, all homegrown under a unified management that is hard to come by, and most importantly, so relevant for our clients. Being contrarian means that we will strike our own path, informed by the needs of our clients, and build further capabilities. The way we do this is to place small bets, see what it takes and what takes root and grows, and then build quickly. What shape or form this will take in the future, only time will tell. Third, there is a lot of talk about Viksit Bharat in 2047. But we believe that our country is already well developed in many parts. While I'm not blind to the issues in the country, as a marketing services professional, I look at the 100+ million households in the country, which is a third of our total households that are classified as upper middle income or higher. And these households are already consuming and driving the economy. To address this large group, we are committed to creating the infrastructure to support the marketing operations of our clients. We committed early to this development many years ago. We understand the challenges here. We have worked out the processes. We have imbibed technology in these operations. We are now steadily scaling what we are terming as marketing infrastructure. This is tangible value addition to our clients, improving stickiness with them. Fourth, we believe in the inclusive development of people in the company. For us, people are not resources, as the term HR or human resource suggests. A resource, by definition, gets exhausted with use. People, on the other hand, get better and better with time. And as the recently concluded Olympics have once again demonstrated, people can perform at levels and be truly inspirational. We are fortunate that our senior leadership has been with us for an extended period of time. They know the culture and values and keep it all in a good place. Fifth, we believe and invest in deep domain knowledge. This is an easy one actually for us and comes naturally. Clients come to us with issues. Often they don't define or are unable to define their problems correctly. We can only deal with them and offer solutions if our knowledge base is sound. The level of knowledge is at 3 levels. Knowledge of their markets and consumers, knowledge of the company or institution and its dynamics, and knowledge even of the individuals dealing with the situation. Our people have to be adept at all 3 levels of engagement. This takes time, and hence we have to invest time in any relationship. This is also why we say it is better to focus and dig deep rather than spread wide and thin. Sixth, we believe in technology and what it can do to increase our performance. We believe tech is a tool to be harnessed, not a master to be slave to. We have a disposition to be technologically current in all our aspects of our business: creative communications, data and MarTech, and market research. Our people are trained in various platforms in use. We, however, remain tool agnostic and more client-focused, supporting them with the tools and platforms they are investing in. Seventh, we believe in and think long-term. The very fact that we are in our 51st year shows that. All organizations are essentially work in progress. In our space, both the brands, RK Swamy and Hansa, are well recognized because of our long-term orientation. When we seek and win a client, we see that as the beginning of a long-term relationship. When we have partnered with a client for decades, we continue to believe that we can do a lot more for them. We therefore seek partnerships with clients who also think long-term and are here to stay. The learning from staying around long term is immense. It is our treasure to enjoy. Eighth, we believe in taking measured risks. We have a good idea of what we are capable of. Our long journey has taught us that not every initiative we take will succeed. We know how much effort and investment of time is required to make something work. At the same time, we remain alert and opportunistic. When we see a chance that is in our sweet spot, we move swiftly. While we are grateful for our independence, we are mindful that the initiatives that we take, and we are mindful of the initiatives we take, and we will not take steps that risk the business itself. Ninth in the list, but not necessarily the least important, we believe in being dissatisfied with ourselves. It is a sense of restlessness that is constantly there in many parts of the organization, not just only among senior management. Good professionals nudge and push each other. We have the good arguments. We have disagreements on issues. We fight with clients in a good way for a better quality of work. We are always hearing an alert to what we can be doing better. This is an innate driver, and I hope we never lose this. I've shared with you over the past few minutes or so what this company believes in. These are our drivers. This is what has led us to this point. As we look ahead, we want to keep the humility intact. We want to keep these guardrails and guideposts undiminished in their glow as we keep executing for this year and the next year and the next. Thank you for listening. Jai Hind. Over to you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Shekhar. I will now request Aparna Bhatt, Compliance Officer, to explain the sequence of the meeting and process of voting.
Thank you, Chairman, sir. Good afternoon, everyone. The company has enabled the members to participate at the 51st Annual General Meeting through the video conferencing facility and cast their vote through remote e-voting facility administered by KFin Technologies Limited. The procedure for voting has been provided on page 17 of the annual report in the annual general meeting notice. For any technical issues, request you to contact the helpline number provided in the AGM notice. Mr. N. Ramanathan from Messrs. Dhanapal and Associates has been appointed as scrutinizers to scrutinize the votes cast before and at the meeting through e-voting. Since the AGM is being held through video conferencing and the resolutions mentioned in the notice have already been put to vote through remote e-voting, there will be no proposing and seconding of the resolutions. The annual report containing the notice of the AGM, the financial statements, board's report has been duly circulated to the members, and with your permission, we will take them as read. As the statutory auditor's report and the secretarial audit report for the financial year 23-24 do not have any qualifications, observations, disclaimers, or adverse marks, the said report are not required to be read out at the meeting in terms of the applicable provisions of the Companies Act. And with your permission, we take them as read. There are 5 agenda items for approval of the members at this meeting, which are proposed to be passed as ordinary resolutions. Resolution 1, to approve the standalone financial statements of the company for the financial year ended 31st March 2024 and the report of the auditor and directors thereon. Resolution 2, to approve the consolidated financial statements for the financial year ended March 31st, 2024 and report of the auditors thereon. Resolution 3, to approve declaration of dividend at ₹2 per share of face value 5 each for the financial year ended 31st March 2024. Resolution 4, to approve the appointment of Mr. Srinivasan K. Swamy, who retires by rotation and being eligible offers himself for reappointment. And last, resolution number 5, to approve the appointment of Messrs. CNK and Associates LLP as statutory auditors of the company. The facility for e-voting can be availed by the members attending this meeting and who have not yet casted their votes, and this facility will be available until 15 minutes of the conclusion of this meeting. The e-voting results, along with the scrutinizer's report, shall be disseminated to the stock exchanges and also be placed on the website of the company and the website of KFin Technologies Limited within the prescribed timelines. I now hand over the proceedings back to our chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Aparna. I would now request the shareholders who are registered to speak at this meeting to participate in the proceedings. The management will be taking note and responding to the questions raised with members after all the speakers registered have spoken. The names of the speaker shareholders will be called upon by the moderator, one after the other. Over to the moderator.
Thank you very much, sir. I once again request the speakers to keep their questions brief. Now I invite our first speaker shareholder, Mr. Harini Desikan from Chennai. Please accept the prompt on your screen. Kindly unmute your audio and switch on your video and put forth your perspective, please. Mr. Harini Desikan from Chennai.
It's a lady.
Ms. Harini Desikan from Chennai, you are requested to kindly unmute yourself. Switch on your webcam if you desire to do so and put forth your perspective, please. We have not received any inputs from Ms. Harini, so we will move on to our next speaker, Mr. Priyank Jayesh Kothari from Mumbai. Mr. Priyank Jayesh Kothari from Mumbai, you are requested to kindly unmute yourself. Switch on your webcam if you desire to do so and put forth your perspective, sir. Mr.
Hello.
Priyank Jayesh Kothari ji. Sir, you are audible, sir.
Hello. Yeah. Good. Hello.
Sir, you are audible. Kindly proceed.
Okay. Yeah. Good evening to the chairman and to the managing director and to all the other members on the dais. So our company is the first time we having such a business getting listed on the Indian Stock Exchange, and it is a different business and it's a quite appreciating business. And I have started observing this company pre-IPO, and I was understanding that how beautifully our company has been doing this business. And since the IPO, as I got the chance, I have invested into this company. So I have already sent my list of questions, but just for the for the other members to also understand the questions and for the other board members to know about it, I'll just go through the questions fast so that maybe you can answer them later. So first, because it's a new company and we don't have a depth into the business, I have few questions which are pertaining to our history and the performance. So in last 2 decades, if you can just give us a sense that in last 2 decades, how many years have we ever experienced losses? And particularly in 2008, when we had a financial crisis, or 2020, when we had a pandemic, how was the performance of our company in those periods? And also if you can highlight the reasons behind those losses if we had it. So also in last 15 to 20 years, we have seen, a company, a 50-year-old company, when I read the revenue 300 crores, for a first moment, I felt it was very low when we are looking at the current Indian companies. But to another thought, I realized that why it is at this level, and why have the company now come to an IPO when the revenue size is 300 crores. So if you can just give us some sense on that part. That is to understand what is the getting listed, why are we getting listed. So also if you can give me a sense about our company's remuneration policy for the key managerial person, the promoters. So we have been till now a private company, now being a public company. What would be a change in our remuneration policy going forward post IPO? So our business, I understand from my limited knowledge, has generally supposed to be a high attrition business. If you can tell me your past experience in last 10, maybe last 10 years or a past decade, what has been our average rate, and specifically in the top level, what is our attrition that we are seeing in this business? So I'm really thankful that being a new company, and you all have given a very generous dividend, which really shows about the mindset and the approach of the promoters toward the shareholders. I really appreciate it. I would like to understand that if you do, we as a management look forward to have a dividend policy or a payout ratio for the shareholders going forward. If you can throw some light on that part. So now I come towards some more business areas. So how do we differentiate our company compared to the other agencies like Ogilvy or Brandamic and Rediffusion? So how do we, what is the competition between us and them? And so what is our unique value proposition that we get on the table to the customers? And if these aren't our primary competitors, then can you just explain who are our real competitors in this business? So because I'm yet not very clear about what is the marketing and what is advertisement. I mean, whether it's at both the same thing or it's different. So if you can give me some sense, it will help us to understand our company better. So our revenue model, if you can explain us our revenue model, because at the current, I'll just give you an example that in the first quarter when the results came out, I think the communication of the company was very clear, but we saw a different movement, a different realization in the market. And because I have been studying this company, I understood that the company has some kind of cyclicality. If you can just give us a sense that how do we look at the revenue and why only in the fourth quarter do we see our profits and our revenues different than compared to first 3 quarters. So it will give us a sense to the shareholders that how do we look this business. Uh, so we have invested our IPO funds in the design lab and digital studio. How do you expect these initiatives to impact our revenue, and are there any metrics to gauge the potential return on this investment? I mean, how do you see this business is really changing your profile in times to come, sir? So advertising is a highly competitive and a creative industry, in my understanding. So what strategies are we employing to remain relevant and stay ahead of the curve, especially considering our long-standing presence in the market? As we are seeing that every day something new is coming up, which is creating a competitive environment in this space. So another very interesting part about your business was when I read your prospectus as well as the results post the IPO, was we have nearly 80+% of our revenue is a recurring business, which is one of a fantastic in my knowledge. So that means our clients are very sticky to us. So what drives this loyalty, if you can explain me, and how are we preparing to maintain this kind of loyalty going forward, because the competition is rising in every sense. Additionally, what are the other main reasons that clients choose? And on another side, I would also like to understand that if a client is leaving RK Swamy as a potential marketing company, then what are those reasons that they leave us? If you can give us some sense that side. So
may I request Priyanshi to kindly wrap up the questions, please, as you have already exceeded 3 minutes. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I know, but there are just last 5 questions, just short questions. So is marketing predominantly a business driven by young and creative mind? That is what I understand. Can you just provide us what is our composition in our company in terms of the age group wise, and how are we building this team going forward? So when we describe ourselves as a single window, can you elaborate that how do customers look at this as an advantage to them? And so we have invested in the MarTech business. Now, this is a totally new thing for me. If you can explain us what is MarTech and how does MarTech will become a relevant or an important business going forward. So in the RHP, I had seen that our company was compared with Latent View and FL Limited. Now, can you explain that in data analytics, what exactly do we do? And would it just be for our clients, or it will be, again, an open business for us? And on the last part, so the dinosaur in the room today is AI in every business. Can you just explain that how AI will become or will affect our business? And if on the other side is AI a very, very, maybe I would say a positive side for us, that we can become much more important with AI. Can you just talk on both the sides? So thanks a lot for my patient hearing. I think I had a lot of questions, but because the first time and for me a lot of things to understand, so I would appreciate if you can answer the questions. Thanks a lot. Thank you very much, sir. And all the best for the future.
Thank you.
Thank you. May I now request our next speaker, Mr. Naveen Botra from Mumbai. Mr. Naveen Botra from Mumbai, I request you to kindly unmute yourself. Switch on your webcam if you desire to do so, and put forth your perspective, please, sir.
Hello, am I audible?
Sir, you are.
Yeah. A very warm greetings to our respected chairman Srinivasanji, our CEO Mr. Narasimhanji, and our CFO Rajiv Navarji, and other distinguished board members and management team of RK Swamy. I am Naveen Botra. Pleasure attending this 51st AGM and the first one after the listing. Speaking from Delhi, not Mumbai. I am belong to Delhi. So it's a very proud moment for us to be part of the first AGM after the listing, sir. I would like to congratulate for this to all the founders and the management team. So furthermore, the reason behind the IPO delights us that delights us more, which is to accelerate the progress, belief in India, and attracting talent and clients. thanking you for letting us to be a part of the RK Swamy organization as shareholder. First of all, I would like to thank the compliance officer Aparna ji and her team for smooth onboarding in this AGM and sending me the annual report and other documents well in time. Thanks, Aparna ji. Chairman sir, I would like to request for your learned views on the couple of points to understand the business of RK Swamy a little bit more about the organization. So number one is the regarding the organic or inorganic growth. In the annual report, we have highlighted that multinational organizations in our place and in our space have acquired major service providers in India and strengthen their position in the Indian market. Sir, your views about the organic as well as inorganic growth in the industry per se, and our company's strategy for growth, whether we would be preferring organic growth or some kind of inorganic growth in the analytical space also, for which we have raised the funds. It will be helpful to us to know your learned views, sir. So second one is regarding the impact of generative AI. Would request your thoughtful content creation. Would request for your views on the ability of the generative AI to create the thoughtful content and delivery business, which we are into. Generative AI changing the landscape, sir. So we would like to have your views on the generative AI's impact on our cost structure, our business cost structure, as well as the impact on our revenues, which it is going to have. If you can throw some more light on it, it will be quite helpful, sir. When the 35% of our revenue is spent as employee cost, do we think that generative AI gives us a substantial scope to improve our EBITDA margins in the years to come? And are we preparing for that? If you can tell a little bit more about us, it will be quite helpful, sir. Once again, I congratulate the team on the successful listing. All the very best to the team, and with the pedigree of the founders and the talented professional team in place. We as long-term shareholder wish all the very best to the team for continuous success. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Naveen. We will move on to our next speaker, Mr. Anand Prakash from Delhi. Mr. Anand Prakash, you are requested to kindly unmute yourself, switch on your webcam if you desire to do so, and put forth your perspective, please.
नमस्कार चेयरमैन साहब, मैं दिल्ली से आनंद प्रकाश जिंदल बोल रहा था और आज मैं काफी अपने आप को गौरवशाली महसूस कर रहा हूं कि आप जैसे डायनेमिक चेयरमैन साहब के सामने मुझे बोलने का अवसर मिला और लिस्टिंग के अंदर मैं ओरिजिनल अलॉटी हूं आपके शेयर का। और आपने अपनी जो चेयरमैन स्पीच दी, सवालों के सिलसिले तो सर जीवन में बहुत होंगे, लेकिन आप जैसा डायनेमिक चेयरमैन अपने विजन और उसको लक्ष्य को कभी मिस नहीं करेगा। बहुत अच्छी चेयरमैन स्पीच दी। एमडी साहब ने जो हमें फाइनेंशियल बताया, संक्षिप्त बताया, लेकिन बिल्कुल ट्रू और क्लियर बताया कि आज हमारी कंपनी कहाँ है और आगे आने वाले समय कहाँ खड़ी होगी। सीईओ साहब ने सर जो 10 पॉइंट्स बताए ना सर, वो सुनने के बाद तो ऐसा लगता है कि जिस कंपनी के आदर्श और जो मूल्य हैं उन 10 पॉइंट्स पे डिपेंड है, उसका लॉन्ग टर्म कितना अच्छा होगा। सवाल तो वो लोग पूछते रहेंगे सर, आप जवाब देते रहेंगे, लेकिन जो आपने कंपनी स्टैंड करी है 51वें साल में हम लोग हैं, वो कोई एक उपलब्धि है सर। आप जैसा चेयरमैन और इतनी बढ़िया टीम को आप लेके बैठे हुए हैं, आने वाला समय तो बहुत अच्छा है। और सर एक छोटी सी रिक्वेस्ट हम कहना चाहेंगे, क्योंकि आज मेरे लिए तो एक हिस्टोरिकल डे है कि एक आईपीओ की लिस्टिंग के बाद मुझे बोलने का मौका वो भी आप जैसे के सामने मिला। यदि संभव हो सके तो एक सिल्वर कॉइन के रूप में मेरी यशस्वी चेयरमैन साहब का ऑटोग्राफ उस पर हो मेंशन और वो हमें भेजा जाए, क्योंकि आपके बारे में ये भी रेपुटेशन मशहूर है सर कि आपके सामने यदि कोई भी शेयर होल्डर या कोई भी आदमी कुछ कहे, एम्प्लॉई कहे, उसके लिए कभी आपने ना नहीं कही है। तो मैं उसको बहुत ऑनर फील करूंगा और आने वाली जनरेशन को दिखाऊंगा कि जब 75 आएगी कि हम अपने चेयरमैन साहब के सामने 51वीं एजीएम में बोल रहे थे। आने वाला समय आपके नेतृत्व में बहुत कंपनी को ऊंचाई की होकर लेके जाएगा। मैं अपनी सीएस की भी तारीफ करूंगा, वो हमेशा मुस्कुराती रहती हैं और शेयर होल्डर के लिए फेवर करती हैं। लगता है आपका दिशा निर्देश ही ऐसा है और एक टीम वर्क का नतीजा जिसके अंदर इतने अच्छे डायरेक्टर, सर वो 10 पॉइंट्स जो है ना, वो जीवन के आदर्श है एक आदमी को कंपनी चालू करे। मैं उसको बार बार कहना चाहता हूँ कि मेरे को इतने इम्प्रेसिव उन्होंने बताया सीईओ सर ने, मेरे को लगा कि कब खत्म हो गए कब शुरू, लेकिन पॉइंट बहुत अच्छे थे। एक छोटा सा जो है निवेदन है, उसको सहानुभूति और गंभीरता से विचार करेंगे। आपकी दीर्घायु के लिए कामना, आने वाला समय आपके नेतृत्व में ऊंचाई पे लेके जाए, इसी आशा और विश्वास के साथ नमस्कार, जय।
We will move on to our next speaker, Mr. Yusuf Yunus Rangwala from Mumbai. Mr. Yusuf Yunus Rangwala, you are requested to kindly unmute yourself, switch on your webcam, sir, if you desire to do so, and put forth your perspective, please. Mr. Yusuf Yunus Rangwala from Mumbai. We have not received any input from Mr. Yusuf Yunus Rangwala, so we'll move on to our next speaker, Ms. Celestian Elizabeth Mascarenas from Mumbai. Ms. Celestian Elizabeth Mascarenas, ma'am, you're requested to kindly unmute yourself, switch on your webcam if you desire to do so, and put forth your perspective, ma'am.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good, thank you. Respected Chairman, Mr. Srinivasan K. Swamy, MD and CEO Narsimhan K. Swamy, other members of the board, my dear fellow shareholders, I am Mrs. C. Mascarenas speaking from Mumbai. First of all, I thank the company secretarial team and for sending me an e-annual report. But I, being elderly, I would prefer a physical copy. But however, anyhow, from the mobile here and there, I have read and I have understood some things which now I want to understand better. Now, I thank you for the dividend of ₹2 on the face value of 5. But we can't ask you anything because you have already, before the AGM, before the IPO, you have given 4 shares for 1 share before you came with the IPO. So at least another 3-4 years, I cannot ask any bonus. It will be out. But whatever it is, we can always say that after 50 years, you are coming with the IPO. You can send some memento, those who have shared their thoughts and all, you can always do as a sign of gratification that we are so much having trust in this company, Now, congratulations for all the awards and accolades received, all documented in the annual report. Good CSR work. Now, my query is, we are the first integrated marketing services company. We have media planning, buying, then digital brand activation, brand consulting, branding and design, healthcare, content at sale, advertising, creative services. Now, my query is, in which of these is a very growth oriented with good margins? Second query is, after 50 years, we have come with the IPO. Because I feel that this market is offering a lot of opportunity. But why the IPO was not after 25 years or after 30 years? Why it is after 50 years? So I was just thinking, what is the reason, So which you should share, what made you to go? Because 50 years afterwards, you become little sunset of life also, So I would like you to share what has made you. Then we have 2 subsidiaries, Hansa Customer Equities and Hansa Research. They are doing pretty well. So do you plan to list these 2 companies also in future? Next question is, any effect of geopolitical issues on our revenues and business? I feel it may be an indirect effect because advertisement and all is less. That may definitely affect our business because of this geopolitical. Next question is, how much is the capex requirement for the next 5 years for growth, organic as well as inorganic growth by acquisitions? And I would like you to speak out which vertical will be the growth driver for the future after 3-4 years, which will be a very good driver for growth driver for the company, because there are some 4, 5, 6, even healthcare is there. So rest, I have supported all the resolutions. I wish my company all the best and especially today is Raksha Bandhan Day. So I wish you all also, and means to your sisters wherever they are, to give that Rakhi and all that, because the program is started after 1:30. So I wish all these functions very good, and may we prosper. And most important, I wish all good health, all of you, sirs. And with health, there will be well, that is sure. So with this, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak. Namaskar. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Mascarenas. We will move on to our next speaker, Mr. Manjeet Singh from Delhi. Mr. Manjeet Singh, you are requested to kindly unmute yourself, switch on your webcam if you desire to do so, and put forth your
Am I
perspective.
audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Good evening, management and sector team. हमारी कंपनी जिस सेक्टर में है, हमने आईपीओ लाने के बाद उसमें अपने कितने कस्टमर और जोड़े, थोड़ा आप इस बारे में बताइए। हमारा सिंस 1973 करीब इमरजेंसी के बाद हुआ और हम इशू अपना करीब 2024 में लाए, कोरोना के बाद बड़ा लंबा इंतजार किया। सर थोड़ा ये बताएंगे, ये जो फेस वैल्यू 5 रुपए की हमारी हुई, ये जो 51 साल का सफर है, इसके में बीच में कब हमने इसका अपनी फेस वैल्यू को 5 रुपए का किया, इससे हमारे प्रमोटरों को कितना फायदा हुआ, थोड़ा आप इस बारे में बताइएगा। जून 2024 के अंदर हमारी सेल ऊपर रही, इसकी हम आपको मुबारकबाद देना चाहते हैं। सर जब हम अपना इशू लाए तो हमने क्या अपनी ऑडिटर का कुछ नाम अपना मेंशन किया था, अपने प्रोस्पेक्टर में डाला था। सेक्रेटरियल ऑडिटर जो हमारे आज आल्सो स्क्रूटनाइजर भी हैं, ये हमारे साथ कब से जुड़े हैं, थोड़ा आप इस बारे में अगर ब्रीफ करेंगे शेयर होल्डर को तो उनको नॉलेज रहेगी इसकी। आपके मुंह से सुना हमने हैप्पी रक्षाबंधन, बहुत अच्छा लगा। अगर आप इस हैप्पी रक्षाबंधन को जो है अपनी, अगर ये मतलब 4-6 महीने का जो है शेड्यूल पहले ही आ जाता है और 31 मार्च की बैलेंस शीट जब हमने बनाई तो शायद हमने कैलेंडर की तरफ भी ध्यान दिया होगा कि रक्षाबंधन की डेट क्या है, तो क्या हमारी मजबूरी थी कि ये इसी दिन को हमने एजीएम करा, थोड़ा आप इस बारे में बताएं। आपके मुंह से अच्छा लगा हैप्पी रक्षाबंधन, लेकिन हैप्पी रक्षाबंधन जिनके मुंह से अच्छा लगता है वो थोड़ा फ्री डे के हिसाब से अच्छा लगता है, थोड़ा आप इस बारे में बताएं। आईपीओ आया 423 करोड़ का, उससे हमारी कंपनी को क्या बेनिफिट हुआ, या हम अपने प्रमोटरों के लिए ही लाए, कुछ कंपनी में भी फंड आया इसका, या ये हमारे जो चेयरमैन साहब हैं इनके नाम गए, इन्होंने भी अपने शेयर बेचे 1,78,08,093, और एक मिस्टर दूसरे भी हैं कृष्ण स्वामी जी जिन्होंने अपने इतने ही शेयर अपने बेचे। और इनका क्या रोल है, इवन स्टॉप जो 2 कंपनियां फंड है एक, और एक प्रेम करके है कुछ, इनका प्रेम अब इस कंपनी में आगे है या इन्होंने अपना सारा शेयर बेच दिया। करीब 6,78,100 शेयर इन्होंने बेचे, और जो दूसरी है एवांस वाले उन्होंने करीब 4,44,00,000, कुछ ऐसी संख्या है, अब मैं आप पूरी उसको पढ़ नहीं पा रहा। उसके बाद 4,45,714, कितने 4 करोड़ कितने शेयर बनते हैं, ये आपको ज्यादा इस बारे में नॉलेज होगी। इस आईपीओ को आने के बाद हमारी कंपनी को कुछ पैसा पूंजी जुटी, या आप फिर दोबारा कोई राइट इशू आने वाले टाइम में 1-2 साल में लाएंगे। और सर अदर इनकम कुछ घटी है हमारी, उसके बारे में आप बताएं कि अदर इनकम किस तरह से हमारी घटी है, और ये जो शेयर का प्राइस है उसको मार्केट ने जिस तरह से आप लाए, आईपीओ आपका भरा, सही रहा सब कुछ, लेकिन जब आपका शेयर लिस्ट हुआ तो ये जो आपके जो आपने अपने जो एम्प्लॉइज को ये शेयर 27 रुपए डिस्काउंट को दिया है, ये 27 रुपए का डिस्काउंट अभी भी पूरा नहीं भर पाया है, तो ये इसका कुछ नेगेटिव असर पड़ा है, थोड़ा आप इस बारे में ब्रीफ करेंगे तो हमें थोड़ा इसकी नॉलेज आएगी। क्योंकि 288 रुपए का शेयर आज भी 255 रुपए पर है, ये 27 रुपए का डिस्काउंट क्या हमारे आईपीओ पर भारी पड़ा? और मार्केट आज भी हमारे शेयर को, जब करीब हमारा शेयर लिस्ट हुआ था तो उसके बाद करीब 10,000 सेंसेक्स पड़ चुका है शायद, लेकिन हमारी वैल्यू हमारे प्राइस पर नहीं आ पाई, तो इसका इफेक्ट आया है उस पर, थोड़ा आप बताइए। मैं अपने सीएस अपर्णा भट्ट जी से भी जानना चाहूंगा, अपर्णा भट्ट जी से, कि ये जो इस क्वार्टर के अंदर है, ये जो इन्वेस्टर की कंप्लेंट है, नया इशू है कंपनी, मतलब मार्केट के फंड जुटाने के बाद ये 14 इन्वेस्टर कंप्लेंट कैसे आई आपके पास? 14 इन्वेस्टर कंप्लेंट, मतलब एक जो प्लेइंग 11 होती है क्रिकेट में, वो भी एक 11 प्लेयरों की होती है, और उससे भी ज्यादा कंप्लेंट हमारे सीएस साहब के पास पहुंची हैं। तो कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस के अंदर क्या कमियां हैं हमारी, क्या खामियां रह गई हैं? आप थोड़ा इस बारे में अगर बताएंगे तो अच्छा रहेगा, थोड़ा हमें नॉलेज भी आएगी इसकी। और जो हमारी सब्सिडी कंपनियां हैं वो हमारी सेम एड्रेस पर हैं, उनके एम्प्लॉइज का जो वो हर्जाना है या भुगताना है, चाय पानी है जो, वो क्या हमारे आर.के. स्वामी वाले ही करते हैं या अलग से होता है उनका कुछ? और हमारा जो आईपीओ से पहले हमारे पास कितने एम्प्लॉइज थे और उसके बाद एम्प्लॉइज की कितनी बढ़ोतरी हुई, थोड़ा आप इस बारे में अगर बता देंगे तो अच्छा है जी। और जिस तरह से इन्वेस्टर आपके शेयर के अंदर इन्वेस्ट करता है पूरे विश्वास के साथ, 544-136 हमारा जो है बीएससी का कोड है और सिंबल है आर.के. स्वामी, तो इसकी आप कितनी हिफाजत करते हैं या कितना, मतलब जो फेद है शेयर होल्डर का, आप स्वीकार करते हैं, और जो है कितनी देख रेख से आप इस कंपनी को चला रहे हैं, या आपका इंटरेस्ट जो है अपनी होल्डिंग बेचने पर ही था? थोड़ा आप इस बारे में बताएं। और जिस तरह हमारा बोर्ड हंसते मुस्कुराते हुए शेयर होल्डर को ब्रीफ कर रहा है, मैं भगवान से कामना करता हूं कि आने वाले टाइम में आप इसी तरह कंपनी को चलाएं और जिस सेक्टर के अंदर हैं उसमें हम और अच्छा करें, इसकी हम आपसे आशा करते हैं। इसी तरह हंसते मुस्कुराते बसते खिलते आप इस कंपनी को चलाते रहें और आगे कंपनी तरक्की करे। कैपिटल डिपार्टमेंट और मॉडरेटर का मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करना चाहूँगा। और जिस तरह से एक यशस्वी हमारे चेयरमैन है, अगर कोई ऐसा सिग्नेचर क्वाइन की कोई बात आई है तो हम भी उसमें पार्टिसिपेट आपके साथ होना चाहेंगे और एक याद के तौर पर अपने पास रखना चाहेंगे, क्योंकि ऑलरेडी हम जो है क्वाइन कलेक्टर हैं। हाँ ठीक है सर, आपने बहुत टाइम दिया और हम बोले ठीक है, थैंक यू फॉर द मैनेजमेंट टीम, थैंक यू फॉर द सेक्रेटरी टीम, थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू।
Thank you, sir. We will move on to our next speaker, Miss Kamini Jain from Mumbai. Miss Kamini Jain, you are requested to kindly unmute yourself, switch on your webcam if you desire to do so, and put forth your perspective, ma'am. Miss Kamini Jain from Mumbai. Well, we have not received any input from Miss Kamini Jain, so we'll move on to our next speaker, Mr. Rahul Kumar Paliwal from Pune. Mr. Rahul Kumar Paliwal from Pune, you are requested to kindly unmute yourself, switch on your webcam if you desire to do so, and put forth your perspective, please.
I'm audible?
Sir, you are.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. So, welcome to the capital world, the entire team of R.K. Swamy. There is an interesting philosophy shared by Mr. MD on resources front in the initial commentary. You have earned a great respect from us as well, sir. Congrats on that front. So I will speak my questions and I hope someone is noting down as well. Why you have chosen to come with the IPO? Because this is a place which bothers more about numbers, growth, quarter on quarters. Of course, one prospect or one aspect might be a better brand visibility of R.K. Swamy coming into the capital world. That's question number one. Then you spoke about MNC taking over the space. That's an interesting perspective you shared. Maybe we wanted to go get into more detail because MNC with the deep pockets, I'm sure R.K. Swamy brand must have some tough decision to make in past and ongoing basis. So wanted to know further in detail about your thoughts on threats from the MNC and why can't we R.K. Swamy be an MNC one day with the core values which you manifest, so that's another expectations. Why can't we have MNC from India ruling over the world? Because in the same and from the MNC perspective, I have another question like MNC did add some lot of value in pharma, medicines, patented product, higher value added goods, right? So they do have interesting perspective there as well. So really wanted to know your views on the same. So apart from the use of funds, IPO funds, and the lower Q1 margins, uh, which you can address the question of, few questions I have on this particular sector. So what are your strategy for maintaining growth and market share in an increasing competitive advertisement industry? Second question on the same line is, how does Swamy ensure that its advertisement practices align with the ethical standards, especially concerning the truthful representation and consumer protection? That's interesting. That's another question which affect us, our daily lives. What are the company's core values, and how do these values influence your approach to client relationship and the content you produce? Can you provide example of how Swamy has navigated ethical dilemmas in its advertisement campaign in past, and what are the lessons you learned from? How does company measure the effectiveness and impact of its advertisement campaign while ensuring they do not, perpetuate stereotypes or they cause the societal harm? And definitely, Swamy comes with a great legacy and values. So, how would you sustain and ensuring those values perpetuate in your organization when you scale up and grow in coming not only years and decades? And then you commented in your presentation about Swamy being in the center of study of Indian market last year, a group committed to providing sharp insights into Indian markets. So can you elaborate more about this insight and how we can access as a reader and a consumer in the area, in an era, especially in an era where data even is speaking the lies? How you are committing to have a truthful picture to the client and to the consumer in a blunt way? These are few questions if you can address in detail. Wish you the best for everything you do. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to our next speaker, Mr. Vinay Vishnu Bhide from Mumbai. Mr. Vinay Vishnu Bhide from Mumbai, you are requested to kindly unmute yourself, switch on your webcam if you desire to do so, and put forth your perspective, sir. Mr. Vinay Vishnu Bhide from Mumbai.
Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir, we are.
Fine, thank you. Let me switch on the camera. I've got adequate bandwidth on my side. Let me start also simultaneously. Chairman, Mr. Srinivasan Swamy, Managing Director, Mr. Shekhar Swamy, Mrs. Sangeeta Narasimhan, other distinguished directors present on call, company executives, fellow shareholders. As already announced, I am Vinay Bhide, a shareholder speaking from Mumbai. At the outset, let me congratulate indeed the company for having provided an excellent performance in the concluded financial year. You also put it very nicely in the annual report. And over and above that, you have mentioned it in the form of a chairman's statement, an MD statement, and a CFO's snapshot also. We're very thankful about that. Higher revenues from operations, higher gross margins, profit after tax growing from 21.54 crores to 26.54 crores on a standalone basis, and on a consolidated basis from 31.26 to 39.72. I think these figures, will stand, good to just explain as to how well we have stood on the onslaught of, the other multinational advertising firms that Mr. Shekhar had just mentioned at the outset. Now, I have listed a few questions. Of course, I will have more searching questions as I understand the subject better and the company better in the next opportunities. But the first question that comes to my mind is that, which has already been asked by an earlier shareholder, and which I would actually like to repeat because it is important from our point of view, and it is very obvious. We are a 51-year-old company. So why, we are planning to list after 51 years? Why we have not, done it earlier? And, why we chose it to, do it, at this point of time? And, it's exactly as if, you have, taken a muhurt for it and, you have done it. So we'd like to hear, from you as to why this was done. That is the first question. The second question is, which are the top 2 areas of business which give us maximum revenues on a standalone and a consolidated working? I've kept the question simple. This is one of my favorite topics, though not my core competency. Which are the top 2 areas of business which appear prospective for revenue growth in the next 3 to 5 years? And finally, one question: what is the capex spend on IT and digital in financial year 23-24 and financial year 22-23? So these are the few questions that I have listed. I think that should suffice as far as this meeting is concerned. I think if I've judged this company correctly, we are absolutely at an inflection point in our age and in our line of business. So you could please confirm whether my understanding is correct. And if I just look at the screen and put together the cumulative years of experience in the field from all of you, starting from Mr. Srinivasan Swamy, I think we have got the best the Indian talent and the local talent available here, and I have no doubt in my mind that I will be participating in more such meetings in the years to come to hear better from you in terms of business and our business line, which is the integrated marketing services, will grow from leaps to bounds in the years to come. I have already supported all the resolutions, and I I join all the other shareholders on the auspicious occasion to wish all of you, starting from Mr. Srinivasan Swamy and the entire board, all the best in the times to come. Thank you so much. Jai Hind.
Thank you, Mr. Vinay Vishnu Bhediji. We will move on to our next speaker, Mr. Krishnamurthy Nagarajan from Chennai. Mr. Krishnamurthy, you are requested to kindly unmute yourself. Switch on your webcam if you desire to do so, and put forth your perspective, please.
Namaskaram to all the directors. Pleasure to attend the first AGM of our company, RK Swamy Limited. Incidentally, in addition to Raksha Bandhan, today is a Vedarambam day for many of us in South, which means we begin our study of the Vedas. And I guess our CEO has done quite a bit of learning because he demonstrated it by his deep insight of his understanding and insight into the business that he's heading. So thank you very much, and thank you, Company Secretary, for giving me the opportunity to speak on this occasion. Commendable results on your first AGM after listing. 22% EBITDA and close to 12% net. Great, awesome. At the same time, the 77% gross margin does reflect that you're doing a great job of being frugal with your fundamental cost elements. While the earlier speakers have gone elaborate on very many dimensions and asked several questions, I would just like to limit myself to saying that your performance in the last fiscal 24 has been brilliant, and we hope you'll continue that. Just a thought, 36% employee cost. What would be the typical revenue per employee? I guess going forward, given the impact of the machine learning and artificial intelligence, the revenue per employee is bound to grow exponentially. The second is of your 3 lines of business, integrated marketing communications and MarTech. The first one, IMC, is close to 50%, and the balance 2 are also totaling to almost a little more than 50%. I guess the MarTech appears to have the most promising opportunity for growth, given the fact that it can be driven by the AI. So some thoughts from the CEO on the slides. And thank you very much for the opportunity to share my views. Namaskaram to everybody.
Thank you, sir. We will move on to our next speaker, Mr. K. Bharatraj from Hyderabad. Mr. K. Bharatraj, you are requested to kindly unmute yourself, switch on your webcam if you desire to do so, sir, and put forth your perspective. Mr. K. Bharatraj
Yeah,
from.
very good afternoon, good evening, Chairman, entire Board of Directors. I'm Bharatraj attending from Guntur. Sir, first of all, sir, successfully completing IPO. I congratulate you, entire Board of Directors. Chairman, sir, wonderful Chairman speech and entire Board of Directors for congratulating for wonderful performance. I have no need to no any questions, sir, but I want to bring to notice. In 25 years back, I used to work in a Citibank, sir. In Citibank, I used to work in credit card divisions. In the divisions, we have used to, on that time, 25 years back, we cannot give everyone to credit card. But we have A-CAT companies and B-CAT companies. In that A-CAT company means no need of any payslip or no need of any financial document. If visiting card is enough, we can issue directly credit card. In that A-CAT, RK Swamy is there, a Indian MNC. I'm really telling, sir, it in Indian MNC. There are A-CAT means all foreign companies and very 10,000, 20 crores. But RK Swamy and there is another company with the combined. Maybe I'm not wrong. Said is Bottle Body, RK Swamy and Bottle Body. Is that right? I don't know, sir. But another company, MNC company is there. So that much brand is RK Swamy, sir. They're very proud, sir. It is a 50 years legacy company. It is only because of chairman, long-term vision, a strong leadership. This today it is stated. In coming days it will be a billion-dollar company, sir. Sir, I believe your leadership. I thank you for coming into public issue. I support all the resolutions. I thank my secretary department. The secretary team has called me, tell me this speaker number. I'm very happy, sir. She's in time send me the annual report. Thank you, Aparnaji. God bless you. I hope you'll make a good career in our company. That this KMPs are the assets of our company, sir. We should take care of them, sir. Once again, in the happy occasion of IPO, I want two questions, sir. How you utilize this fund, sir? Where you allocated this fund, sir? Please let me know. IPO funds, sir. Next year, if it's possible, we'll have a physical AGM, sir, hybrid mode, so that we can meet you personally and we can greet you. And completing the successful IPO, sir. A small request from love and affection from Speaker or shareholders. Please send dry food sweets to all Speaker shareholders, sir. All Speaker shareholders 10 dry food sweets. Aparna ji, आप objection नको बोलना कि this is not for a secretary. ऐसे नको बोलो. Sending dry foods is not wrong. SEBI is not there anything wrong. This is nothing of chairman love and affection, so that we'll be more happy. This is nothing of gratuity, chairman, sir. God bless you. You should live hundreds of years. May MD and best wish to our MD, CFO, and entire board of directors. God bless you all. Thank you. Take care. Bharatra signing off from Guntur.
Thank you, Mr. Bharatraj. We'll move on to our next speaker, Ms. Harjeet Kaur from New Delhi. Ms. Harjeet Kaur, you are requested to kindly unmute yourself, switch on your webcam if you desire to do so, and put forth your perspective, please. Ms. Harjeet Kaur from New Delhi. We have not received any input from Ms. Harjeet Kaur, so we'll move on to our next speaker, Rushabh Girish Shah from Ahmedabad. Mr. Shah from Ahmedabad, you're requested to kindly unmute yourself, switch on your webcam if you desire to do so, and put forth your perspective, sir.
Hi, good afternoon. I just had a few queries. I've already shared them, but I just read them across. The first one is if you could just highlight on the key differentiator that we offer to our customers. You mentioned about the competition with MNCs and how are we faring ourselves in the current digital landscape and how is the industry evolving. And the second query is what major steps or the strategies that we need to formulate if the company is to reach, say, 1,000 crore top line. And is this an aspiration target for us for the next 5 to 7 years? My third question is, what is the company's market share in the industry across segments and what are the plans if you have to increase the same? And the fourth query is, what is the current wallet share of the company with the top 10 clients? Are there any exclusive client contracts as well? Then my next question is, if you could just mention a global or a local competitor that we admire and the reason for the same. And what is the minimum pre-tax ROE, that is return on equity, that we target for any investments that we plan, both organic and inorganic? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll move on to our next speaker, Mr. Yashpal Chopra from Mumbai. Mr. Yashpal Chopra, you're requested to kindly unmute yourself. Switch on your webcam if you desire to do so, sir, and put forth your perspective.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Yeah, let me put on my camera also if that is possible. Uh, is it possible for my camera?
Sir, your camera is already enabled. You just need to click on the camera and then click on share camera once the prompt comes up. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyhow, ठीक है, अब नहीं है तो नहीं है.
नहीं सर,
Yeah,
आप कैमरा पे क्लिक करेंगे. कैमरा पे क्लिक करने के बाद आपके पास एक बॉक्स आएगा, उसमें आप शेयर कैमरा पे क्लिक कीजिए प्लीज. तब तक आप अपना सवाल पूछ सकते हैं सर.
बॉक्स में तो लिखा है स्टॉप कैमरा.
नहीं सर, वो उसके ऊपर लिखा होगा शेयर कैमरा सर.
Anyhow, चलो कोई बात नहीं, it's all right. Yeah, myself Yashpal Chopra calling from Delhi. I'm a super senior citizen shareholder around 85, and I'm an advocate looking after the corporate affairs. Sir, as your IPO had come over there, most of the people were confused as to what is the product of the company, whereas I just told them it is a fantastic company which is dealing with that integrated marketing solutions, and that has got a ocean-like scope in our developing country, the country which is just growing and day in and day out, just making achieving the target. So, future of this company with this product that is excellent. So I just want to bless our chairman, Mr. R.K. Swamy, and our MD, and our CFO, our company secretary, and the entire team for getting us an excellent performance, the maiden performance after listing. That is excellent because there has been all-round growth in revenue, PBT, PAT, ROC, over even investor-friendly dividend. I don't go for don't want to repeat the statistical data over there, but the performance has been, I can say, very, very much encouraging. And as regard the future of the company, I can say it, I can vouch it that it is very much excellent growth shall be there because so long our Prime Minister, the Minister, our Prime Minister is with the positive attitude for those industrialization and commercialization is there. Our country is just bound to grow day in and day out. So with that, the future of our company is definitely excellent, sir. Sir, the modem of your operations through your TV, radio, cinema, OTT, digital, uh, this is excellent. As regard those list of directors I was reading, first of all, I got confused with that name, Mr. Shetty. I thought that is our brand ambassador from film industry. Then I just searched the photographs in this balance sheet over there. I couldn't find that. Then I again read that name. Oh, then I understood that it is another celebrity, not that celebrity which who is just on the screen. So this is very good thing, sir. Sir, a lot of people have just spoken a lot about the company, but I will definitely say that your method of working is based on your relationship with the biggest, highest level of clients like yours, it is Adobe, Oracle, Amazon, Magneto, IBM, Unica, and all that. So that shows how strong is our company, sir. You have taken 51 years in just coming to the IPO. That shows that our company has tasted so many weathers, the ups and downs and all that. And now when you have seen that the company is mature enough to face any kind of storm, you have come up with that. So this is a very good step for the investors, investor safety and all that. So I would rather congratulate the management and the entire team that they are really visionary person, and the product they have chosen, that is definitely an excellent product that you are going to highlight those items of consumer nature, because you see the time for the consumerization is an excellent time over here with that GDP growth, with that high liquidity in the hands of consumers and all that. That as regards the questions, most of my questions have been taken by Mr. Kothari, your second speaker, and then Mr. Bothra. I think they have just spoken a lot about that. But at the same time, I have got also a few queries. Sir, I just want to find out, is there any plan to consolidate your subsidiary, Hansa, just to strengthen the main company? This is one of the first questions as a corporate action. Second question is as regards the gender ratio, because that is the dream of my Prime Minister, just to empower the women, for women empowerment. He is speaking day in and day out. So, what is that our company's outlook on that? The third is, sir, I just want to find out who is your competitor and what is the strategy to fight out that. And the last is that which quarter of the four quarters is most profitable for the company, that I want to find out, because that I'm a shareholder from the allottee, and now the share is just at a lower price than that, but I want to average it out. So I will just wait for that quarter, and definitely I will like to put my more investment in that company. And the last request is the request received from Mr. Gantur, the person who has spoken from Gantur, that should be consented by the board amicably without any argument, because you see that investors and speakers, the well-wishers of the company, they are the partners of the company, and their blessings are of a vital importance for the company. So you must consider that request raised by that Mr. Gantur. So before I wind up, I must thank our board, our CFO, our company secretary for two things. The first, I requested for a physical copy of that, and she sent me that. The copy has been compiled, this annual report has been compiled very nicely. That is, detailed information is given over there. So this is a very good thing. And second, they have provided chance to speak to me, to express myself, and for that, your team of the secretarial department, even today they approached me that if I'm ready or all that, and as to what is the query. So I said that as you have just given me the link, now you will get the query also. So before I close, I pray God for the positivity for the entire team, from the chairman to the last man in the organization, because that positivity is the strength of the company, and strength of the company is the strength of my investment. And before I close, I wish you lots of blessing for the festival times coming ahead. Even today is a festival time, so lots of my blessing for you all, for the entire team. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We will move on to our next speaker, Mr. Shlok Dave from Mumbai. Mr. Shlok, you are requested to kindly unmute yourself, switch on your webcam if you desire to do so, and put forth your
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir, you
Hello.
are.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Sir, I have sent a list of questions as per the request of the company. If you can confirm that she's received all the questions, then I'll not repeat them. She's nodding, so I'm guessing that you guys have the questions in front of you. Sir, a lot of shareholders have asked you for a lot of. They will not ask you for anything other than if the CFO or someone from the top management can just send me point by point replies to the questions that I've asked. I would just appreciate that in writing, right? So I can go through at leisure. So there were just two things that I would like to put some emphasis on. One, I was surprised to see that there is very little growth happening in the company. There's a lot of seasonality, and that is one of the questions that I've asked. The quarters are extremely lumpy. which I kind of understand. But I also see there is in some of the critical areas, especially on the digital side, there is I couldn't see much growth as per the reported quarterly numbers that I have, at least to the extent I have. So what exactly is happening on that side? I would have thought that we would be growing at a pace because again, we are not a very large company. The base is also not very large in that segment. So why is the growth? Second is the volatility in the margins is extremely hard to understand and also to map for the future. I really couldn't figure out how the growth will pan out and how the margins will move. So if you can discuss some of the key drivers of I don't know whether it is the cost volatility in our cost and expenses which is driving this change in margins, or is it or does it have to do with the revenues? Even in the last two quarters, the Q4 quarter and Q1 quarter, there is a substantial decline in EBITDA margins if I look at YOY numbers and ignore the quarterly. So again, that was a bit surprising. So if you can give some sort of a guidance on that, how should we at least look at it? If you can't share quantitative numbers, I would appreciate a qualitative commentary. I tried, so I understand businesses particularly through numbers. Numbers have a story to tell, and it is particularly hard in business to understand what exactly is happening. So if you can answer the questions that I've asked and also send them format via email, I would really appreciate it, sir. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, sir, and all the best.
Thank you, Mr. Shlok Daveji. We will move on to our first speaker, Ms. Harini Desikan from Chennai. Ma'am, you are requested to kindly unmute yourself, switch on your webcam if you desire to do so, and put forth your perspective. Harini Desikan, you are requested to kindly unmute yourself by clicking on the microphone icon at the bottom of your screen. We have not received any input from Ms. Harini Desikan. So we'll move on to our next speaker, Mr. Yusuf Yunus Rangwala, who has joined us back. Mr. Yusuf Yunus Rangwala, you are requested to kindly unmute yourself, switch on your webcam if you desire to do so, and put forth your perspective, please. Mr. Yusuf Yunus Rangwala, you are requested to unmute yourself, sir. May I request Mr. Yusuf Yunus Rangwala to kindly unmute himself? We have not received any input from Mr. Yusuf Yunus Rangwala. Chairman, sir, with that, we have provided an opportunity to every individual who was present as a speaker shareholder in the session. I hand it back to the board to continue with the rest of the session, sir. Thank you, sir. Chairman, sir, you are on mute. May I request you to kindly unmute yourself, sir? Thank you.
Thank you. As I said, thank you. There are three of us who will address these questions. That will be Shekhar Swamy, our MD and Group CEO, Rajiv Nawar, Group CFO, and me. Some of the questions received writing prior to meeting have already been answered. Some of them have been answered. The video shown and also the address by the management. We'll try and cover as much as possible here again. And some of the written questions that we received, we'll try and send a written response once this meeting is over, maybe over the next week or so. First and foremost, I think I want to thank all the speakers who've been very kind in their comments. We are grateful to all the kind words that they expressed. We know that it's important for us to thrive on the goodwill of our shareholders. And I see that we have that in good measure. So thank you very much for all your kind words and support. One issue that keeps coming up with many speakers is the issue relating to why the IPO late, why are you looking at organic, inorganic growth? What are the issues relating to, which segment you're going to grow more from, which segment you're going to grow less of? So these are the issues that I think came up with at least 3 or 4 5 speakers, depending on which subject you pick up. So let me answer some of these questions. Why the IPO? This company was started in April 1973. It was started by a founder, R.K. Swamy, and he happened to work in a multinational company at the time called J. Walter Thompson. And he felt that it was important for our company also to be part of a multinational network to start with. He never felt that we should be fully aligned to a multinational company, but nevertheless, he wanted to have some relation with multinational company, and therefore we partnered with a company called BBDO in mid 80s, and we had this relation going with them for 35 years. So 35 years is a long time history, and we had that, and because we were with them for a long time, we could not consider going public earlier on. But once we reorganized our lives without this multinational company as our partner, we were ready to get into the IPO market and see what we can do to grow our own business. We always were very keen to strike it on our own. And as somebody was saying, why not become an Indian multinational? We have actually started operations in 2 countries already. Hopefully, for the next few years, our footprint could expand. And so we are certainly looking at an opportunity to actually spread our wings in whatever way it's possible. IPO is actually an important requirement to compete well in the marketplace, to invest in technology, to invest in higher level of customer care centers, customer experience centers, and also to invest heavily in computer-aided telephone interviews. Plus, of course, we also are wanting to set up a large digital studio to actually take our creative product to the next level. So I think some of these initiatives have been recognized well. We have actually been focused on executing the idea behind our IPO. I think IPO has been well considered because of the plans that we actually outlined in terms of growth and all that. Over the next 5 years, it will be our object to actually implement the ideas that are already in place, strategies that are already in place, to build ourselves to become a stronger entity with all the ideas that have been outlined in the red herring prospectus. So I think that itself is going to take us a while to implement, and I'm sure it will give us growth to an extent that we have not seen in the past. I'm fairly confident this is going to be the right initiative, right thing to do, and we don't need to worry about whether the growth is going to come from organic means or inorganic means. We are only focusing at the moment on organic growth. Inorganic growth opportunities we'll see when it appears in front of us. At the moment, we are not looking at inorganic growth. We're looking at organic growth. We are confident that this business of integrated marketing services will grow significantly, because in India, it is our business segment is only 0.33% of our GDP. The international market, it is 2% of global GDP, whereas we are at least 1/6 of what the world has to offer. So our headroom to grow in this business segment is quite high. And we are confident that we will actually be one of the major recipients of this growth. Another way to look at it is that our business is close to 1 lakh crores. Our integrated marketing services business is almost close to 1 lakh crores. It's a long tail of this business. Even the largest player has got less than 1% market share, maybe about 1% market share, 2% market share. So there are lots of players in this field, and therefore it's easy for us to be one of the significant players in the marketplace. Even if you're small, you can still be significant because the market opportunity is huge. Because I told you the headroom that we have, because GDP ratio is very small, and also the size of the market is very huge. Even in this 1.33% market is huge. So you can see what kind of exponential growth is possible in the industry. There are many questions that have been put on, whether we are, having a fair share of the female employees and all that. I think that's something that I can very proudly say that our industry is very, very, very good in this. At last count, we saw that we have more than 26% of people who are women employees in the company, and that numbers can only grow, can't go down, because actually we are quite, what should I say, compliant with all the laws. We are actually equal opportunity employer. We have people who are handicapped also in the company who work for us. So we have very focused on giving opportunity to every kind of employee who can come in. Just look at some questions here. There is a question put on what has been the growth the last 2 decades, and whether we had a difficult year in 2008 and 2020, whether we had any loss-making years in the last 20 years. The answer is God has been very kind. We have had no serious setback in our company. One of the years we had a problem of declaring a loss. While performance did go down in 2008 and 2020, during 2020 pandemic, we did not lose money even those years. So I can say with pride that our financial management have been quite prudent. We kept a head above water in these difficult times. What has been the strongest growth years? I think we have had very good growth years immediately after COVID. I think we kind of tightened our belt during COVID, and then that kept us in good stead and bounced back pretty well in 21, 22, 23, 24. So I think the last 3 years have been quite well executed. I think our people are really been putting their shoulder to the wheel, as it were, and we excelled ourselves in various fronts the last 3 years. I think Shekhar has talked about the need to go to the IPO in his speech, so I don't want to repeat some of that. On remuneration, I think whether we are paying us more or less, I think it's a moot point. My personal view, the promoter directors are paid significantly less than what the market is paying our competitors. But that's that apart. I think our remuneration is not determined by the promoter directors. The remuneration is determined by the nomination remuneration committee. So the company is in safe hands of the NRC committee, and I'm sure that they know what they're doing in terms of what should be the remuneration of the directors, and they have been last 2 years they've been fixing the remuneration for the directors, board directors. There's a question on attrition. I think that also has been answered by Shekhar. I think our attrition rate is pretty low actually. It is pretty low for a company of our business type. At the entry level, it may be a little higher, but as we have, if company at the senior level, they've seen very little attrition. We've had people engage with us for 14, 15 years at the senior level, so no significant attrition we can talk about. Of course, our board, our annual reports already told you that the attrition is between 14% and 42%, depending on when they enter the company. Junior fellows, of course, have high level of attrition. Dividend policy, I think it's all there declared in the website. What it basically says is that we want to have a payout ratio of 25 to 40% on an annualized basis for profit. So everything is transparent. I don't think you'll find lack of governance in our company. We're very, very focused on governance, and everything that you need to find about us, you'll find on our website. I think we do see that our own future is your own future safe hands as a company, because I think we have some very, very wonderful independent directors who are guiding us in running this company the way it should be run. I'll stop here and I'll ask Shekhar and Rajiv to add to what I've said. I'm sure they'll probably add some to what has been said. Thank you.
Good numbers.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. You have made my life easier because you answered most of the questions, but I'll try to wrap up a few of them. One of the common questions that came from many shareholders was when they were trying to compare Q1 with Q4. I think you need to take a step back and understand how this business pans out during the year. Q1 usually traditionally has been a lean quarter, and most of the revenue recognition typically happens in Q4. In this business, as you would have noted during my presentation, it's usually a high gross margin business, where over the last couple of years, the gross margin has hovered anywhere between 68% to 70%, thereabouts. Now, what happens is that when obviously revenues get tilted more towards the second half of the year, the costs below gross margin are mostly payroll costs and establishment costs. In other words, they are more or less fixed in nature. So therefore, the margins tend to improve very significantly in the second half of the year vis-a-vis the first half of the year, when the revenue is lower as compared to second half of the year. Now, if I was to articulate this with a few set of numbers based on an analysis of last year's numbers alone, what you would see at the consolidated level, almost 19% of the revenue came in Q1, and only 7% of the EBITDA came in Q1. That's point number one. Second thing is, if you look at Q4, almost 36% of the revenue came in Q4, and almost 54% of the EBITDA came in Q4. And this is the nature of the business. So therefore, comparing Q1 and Q4 could lead to misleading results or misleading outcomes. That's one. Secondly, when you compare Q1 with Q1 or Q4 and Q4, you will realize that the company has been improving its margin, improving its top line steadily, which is what I covered during my presentation as well. So whether you talk about Q1 of current year with Q1 of last year, the revenue growth has been double digits. If you compare full year last year, Q4 of last year vis-a-vis Q4 of the preceding year, it's been higher. So you can't compare Q1 and Q4. That's something which is important for us to appreciate that. The second thing was on some of the clients. So yes, the point has been well noted by many of the shareholders that we have had some long-standing clients. And as we have mentioned in the annual report also, that if you look at the top 10 clients, they contribute to almost, the top 50 almost contribute to 74% of our top line. And they, on an average, have been with us for decades. Not decades, I would say almost 1.5 decades. If you take the top 10, they have been there for longer. The other point which I wanted to highlight is Naveenji basically spoke about the number of employees. Well, we employ close to about 2,500 associates and professionals across the various businesses that we operate. There was also a question on organic and inorganic. Well, historically, we have grown organically. The related question was that how are you going to utilize the IPO fresh proceeds that we have raised from IPO? So I would like to draw your attention to page 193 of the annual report, which lists down 5 initiatives. One of these initiatives, all I can tell you is that the company has already, as we speak today, has already utilized more than 50% of the fresh proceeds that we had raised. That's point number 1. Point number 2 is there was a lot of question on how we are going to deploy funds for capital expenditure. That's a very good question because we do realize the need, or we did realize the need to enhance our marketing infrastructure capabilities. So we have deployed, we have set aside almost 22 crores for driving both CATI and CX marketing infrastructure. Basically, these are marketing infrastructure which will support our analytics business and our market research business. Apart from that, in this business, while talent is extremely important, so is technology. So we have also set aside about 33 crores for investing in technology. Apart from that, one of the important businesses that we run is the creative business, where we create a lot of content. And to create content, you need a studio. So another 11 crores has been set aside for creating a digital studio, video studio. So these are the expenses that will go for the capital expenditure. Apart from that, I'm just turning the pages to see if I have not answered, if I missed answering any specific question. Yes, we did bonus shares. And the question was, when did we do the bonus shares? We did the bonus shares in the last fiscal, where we did a subdivision from rupees 10 to rupees 5. The face value of the share was rupees 10 earlier. That became rupees 5. And we did the bonus share in the ratio of 4:1. Which are the segments which drive? I think it's a 3-horse chariot. All the businesses have been driving the business well, and we hope that that continues. I think all of them complement each other, and there are also clients that leverage 2 or more services at any given point in time. Spoke about CapEx. You asked about the auditor's name and so on and so forth. Yes, the auditors were Deloitte, Haskins & Sells, and the secretarial auditors are Dhanapal and Associates, and they have been associated with the group for a reasonable period of time. What was the reason for the other income to drop in the current year? Well, one of the focus was very clearly that we wanted to deleverage ourselves, and both. So we have, at the end of the year, which is 24, we have been able to go completely debt-free. And that's also what you will see, that the waterfall from EBITDA to PBT has also become healthier. So we had given some loans, which were then taken back and which were utilized for our working capital requirements. So earlier when the loans were given, we were earning interest on them. Obviously, when we have taken back those loans, we stopped accruing interest on them because that translated into business opportunities for us. I've spoken about the margins. Margins have been increasing steadily. 2 years ago, it was 14% EBITDA margin. A year ago, it was 21%. And in the last fiscal, it was about 22%. Which are the segments that contribute? Well, we are actually sector agnostic. We contribute and services. We cater to all the sectors and all segments. Having said that, yes, we seem to have a dominant presence. We do have a dominant presence in BFSI and in the FMCG and the consumer sector, and as well as the auto sector. These three sectors put together account for substantial revenues that we report. Sorry, I think yeah, and what has been our return on capital employed and return on net worth? Well, it's been reasonably healthy. Return on capital employed has been close to about 17% in the last year, and return on net worth has also been in double digits. Which is the most profitable quarter? Yes, Q4 followed by Q3, because that's the way in which business has traditionally operated. That does not mean that Q1, Q2 going forward cannot contribute more. Okay, those were all the questions on numbers and other stuff. I'll request Shekhar to take the rest of the questions. And thank you for all the good wishes and all the blessings. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Ajib. Let me try and cover as much of the balanced questions that have been posed. Harini Desigan had actually logged in one question, and she spoke about expansion or growth plans for the next 5 years. Ma'am, we are not generally looking at 5-year horizons, because 5-year horizons are pretty far out. I can tell you this much, that the CRISIL industry report suggests that over the next 5 years, they took it from 24 to 28. 23 to 28. They have estimated compounded growth rates in double digits for all three segments of the business, and they expect that the business on the aggregate, in terms of the size of the integrated marketing services business, should double. That is the CRISIL report, which has been put out in the public domain. It's available on our website as well. Our own plans are actually, I use a phrase which says that we aim small, and I mean small. It's like the Arjuna looking at the eye of the fish. We have to be very focused. Aim small is not small in terms of size, but the aim is small so that we meet our targets. In fact, all shooters will tell you that. We have won medals in shooting and archery and so forth. So basically, we want to keep out the distraction and stay focused. Our plans across business segments call for double-digit growth. We have said that publicly in media forums. And for this discussion as well, I will simply say that and answer that question in that fashion rather than getting into numbers and Excel sheets for the next 5 years. There are a bunch of other questions. How do we differentiate ourselves? Some names were talked about: Ogilvy, Brandemic, Rediffusion, and so forth. So it depends on the discipline and segment of business that we are competing in. We do compete with Ogilvy quite nicely on the creative content side, but we compete with them only on the creative content side. They don't function in the MarTech data analytics space. They're not there in the research space. The competition in those spaces tend to be other people. The important thing, as we have said, is that when it comes to an aggregation of these services, and this is frankly a strategic opportunity as well as a challenge. Clients do not necessarily buy these services together. There is an education process that is almost continuous. We have to continuously educate them on the various services that we have. Even long-standing clients tell us quite often, what else can you do for us? Oh, I did not know that you did that as well. So we are in the hustle and bustle of day-to-day servicing and relationship management and project deliveries and so forth. We have to step up often, and this is the task assigned to the frontline account management teams across the companies actually, to listen carefully to the clients, to the customers, what problems they're facing, and see if any of our other disciplines can address those problems. So from the aggregate point of view, I would say we have an opportunity. Our competition is specific in specific segments. But the very fact that we have these services integrated under one roof, it's itself a point of differentiation. Nobody else can honestly say this with any kind of justification. We can say it, and it's absolutely the fact of that we offer these services not just as a name, but we offer it at scale. And this is what I think the 50-year journey has brought us to, that we forget that our research business itself is 4 decades old. Our data analytics business is itself 16, 17 years old. So we started these businesses, we have incubated them, we have grown them. And the IPO was an opportunity and in fact, a catalyst, I would say, to bring these services together under one roof. And people have asked why the IPO after 51 years. We really have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, the journey that each of these verticals and disciplines have themselves taken. And to bring these together, to have let's say, the stubbornness to put this together has been, I think, important for us to, it is what has brought us to this point. So no direct competition in terms of the aggregation of services, but there is competition under individual heads. I think the quarter-to-quarter variation is something that hopefully you as shareholders will come to appreciate. We are cyclical. It is how the business has been, not this year. It's been like this for a very long time. It's not difficult to understand. The first quarter budgets are not released by most companies. So the first quarter always tends to be muted. And no surprise, in Q4, people are anxious to spend their budgets. And we are also anxious to record the revenues for all the work we have done. There are some questions on revenue models. Our income is a mixture of fees, project management activities. When we engage in production, we get paid for the production and we earn a margin on that, or we have in certain parts of the business, like our customer experience centers or the customer-aided telephonic interviews that we do for people, we are paid monthly fees, and they tend to be fairly steady and significant. So it's a mix of fees, it's a mix of retainers, as well as on top of that, we have the ability to charge for additional projects, which once you're embedded with the client, will invariably come our way, because clients don't want to go outside. They want to work with the people they're already working with. Questions on Design Lab and Digital Studio. We are a big player in creating content. We need the infrastructure for that. And the Design Lab and Studio is something that will work well in that zone. We have been, since the IPO, working, searching actually to create that infrastructure. We need the right real estate and premises and so on and so forth. We have certain, in our mind, we would rather have that close at hand, and therefore we are looking for investments in real estate closer to where we are. So when we do it, it'll be a significant strength to the company in terms of what we promise to our clients and what we can deliver to our clients. Question on staying ahead in a competitive field. What strategies are we employing to remain relevant and stay ahead? We have stayed ahead on the basis of, our history tells us this. Our business is significantly relationship driven. So it's actually 2-3 parts to this, and I've alluded to all of this in my opening remarks. It's relationship driven, which means long term. It is knowledge driven, which means investing in domain knowledge. And it is professional competence, which cannot be, to perform at the top of our professional game. Let me put it that way. So this is how we distinguish. When we walk in, our goal in any, let's say, new business attempt, and this is something that we have consistently said to our teams, it doesn't matter if we win a new bid or not, but it does matter if we are not in the top 2 in terms of the technical assessment in that process. So in a field of any number that may be bidding for a project or a client, we must be among the top 2. And that is something that we believe we have held firm to. So our competitive edge really comes from professional excellence. And there is no other way to do this. There is no other answer to this. Stay on top of the professional game, find the solutions that the clients is looking for, and they will stay with you. They'll come to you, they'll stay with you. And that's how the competitiveness, and because we know this business. And for example, if there are RFPs being put out by certain institutions, I would say from experience in the last several years, many years actually, it would be a rare RFP that we don't clear. We are pre-qualified for most RFPs. And that's a competitive edge. And we may not win the RFP, but we will certainly qualify for the RFP. And winning or losing has so many other dimensions to it, and which is fine. I mean, you don't win every bid that you apply for, and you may not even want to participate in every RFP that comes your way. So those are strategic calls, and we take them in a measured manner. And sometimes we know what particular business or sector or project that we must get our hands on because it is strategic. And then we also know how to, let's say, mobilize our teams and get the wheels rolling on such occasions. And recurring business over 80%, I think it's our historical statement of fact. I don't believe it will change. The truth is, I mean, if you look at our client base and the contribution from each of our clients, I don't wish for this to happen, but even if we were to reduce our engagement with any large client, we have the width and the depth to withstand those kinds of situations. There was a related query, how do we lose clients? Often we lose clients because there is a change on the client organization side. A new CEO may come, a new CMO may come on, and when there is a change of personnel on the client side, it is always, you have to watch this, what I call point of change. There is no guarantee that you may have been serving somebody well for years, but there's no guarantee that the new management is necessarily looking on that, or they have some other agenda. And if you're not fitting into that agenda, there is a good chance that you may not continue in that engagement. So these are the common situations where under these circumstances you can lose clients. Usually, I would say we have seldom lost clients because we have not professionally delivered. And on that basis, we can hold our head high. We lose clients, as I said, because of changes in the client organization, or sometimes client has no need for us. They do a project of a significant nature, and the project doesn't repeat. So the client's requirement for services from us goes away, and therefore a client, which was a client last year, is not a repeat client this year, and so on and so forth. These are pretty common. So these are the situations under which our revenue from the previous year can say decline in the current year from a particular set of clients. So this is something that when we do our annual planning, we do know which are the ones which are not going to repeat, and we have to factor that in. So this is not an automatic process of expecting that the same client will continue to spend and spend and spend, and we'll have ever growing revenue streams. There are cases like that, but there are also cases where it doesn't happen. And on the aggregate, we have to balance all these factors out and make sure that we perform nevertheless. Future market opportunities, which segment is good, which segment is going to grow faster? It's very tempting to give a pat answer to this, but the reality is, and I think I've answered this about 100 times through the IPO journey. Rajiv mentioned 3-horse. This chariot is pulled by 3 horses. I would not be surprised if these 3 horses continue to pull this chariot, at least for the next few years, as vigorously as they have done in the past. The content game is a rich game. Just think about it. The digital world is all about content. And as long as the content needs are there, and the digital world has only multiplied the requirement for content. And we are right in the spot to deliver that content, and that's a creative content game. And the media rides on top of that. If you look at somebody asked a question on marketing technology and what it means. So marketing technology today is driven by the fact that customer-oriented data or customer data is flowing through many companies at a copious rate. If you look at many sectors, whether the automotive sector or the banking and financial services and insurance sector or the travel sector or the telecom sector or any of these sectors, they have loads of data coming through. They need people, and in fact, they cannot manage without technology. So there is, I think there are thousands of marketing technology companies in the world. Just like you have financial technology or fintech, MarTech is a very big game. We had the good fortune that we entered this space in 2008, which means 16 years ago. And we have developed a fairly good competence in the area of marketing technology. You would have heard of names like Salesforce and Adobe and Oracle and all these companies that offer platforms. Our job is to help the companies, our clients, run their data on these platforms as managed services. So we are a MarTech service provider. We have certified professionals on all these platforms, and we have data analytics professionals, data scientists of a high order of magnitude. And this is, in today's language, this is what is called the MarTech business. And our subsidiary, Hansa Customer Equity, is entirely focused on, let's say, delivering MarTech services. The company operates at the intersection of marketing and technology. And we are fortunate that we have been able to put up very, very strong capacity over the years in that space. Future, next significant opportunity, again, we have hardly exhausted what's in front of us. As the opportunities come up, we will not be immune to it, or we will not be blind to it. We will chase them. We have listed many initiatives. I think Sundar or Srinivasan referred to that in one of his comments. It's all in the RHP. Any of these, and I would like to combine one other statement one other shareholder made about being at an inflection point. An inflection point comes when we have, let's say, a new initiative which simply takes off. And that's a classic flywheel example. You keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and then suddenly it takes off. And then clients start coming to you, and then you have a different kind of problem where you are unable to cope with the demand that is created. So it could happen, and if such an inflection point happens in our business, and I'm not saying it's around the corner or anything, I'm not predicting anything. There are enough initiatives and capabilities that we have that let's hope we are right and that we are on the threshold of an inflection point. Honestly, as a comment, I will say this, that our challenge is on what I call the supply side, and I think it's worth just mentioning it here that we are constantly augmenting our talent pool. And no matter what anybody says, the nuanced talent that our business requires takes training, takes years of engagement with clients and with the discipline, and the capacity to produce what I call business solution architecture in marketing terms is a very special skill, and that is what we as a company have. And as long as we can aggregate that and direct it properly, and the marketplace is large, and that's been alluded to. But not everything in the marketplace is necessarily relevant for us. So we have to pick and choose our engagement. There is a large discounting market which we don't want to go into. And there are very specialized skill sets and specialized demands that sometimes we actually have. We could be a player of one sitting in a situation like that, and that has also happened. So the capacity augmentation, the skill augmentation, the discipline augmentation at a professional level is a continuous process, and that is something that we will continuously work on. I mean, it's an everyday affair. So when we talk of future market opportunities, it's really in that zone. The higher the level of skill that we can augment, the business is something that we can find, or the business will find us. So there's a question on creative management teams driven by young creative minds. Yes, this is something that we are constantly mindful of. It's a funny thing in that, you have to bring talent, you have to bring them in for the talent, and sometimes you have to then orient them for the attitude. So talent and attitude applied sensibly to client situations is what this game is all about. And this is something, and by the way, our talent is also very specific. We have some, there are 20 disciplines in this one company that is highly specialized in marketing terms. So we are constantly working on that. Creative young minds, and I would add the word creative young and disciplined minds would be what this game is all about. Question on single window strategy: is it tangible? Is it meeting our clients' expectations? I would say that more and more of our clients are using more than 2 or more of our services, which is a good thing. So in an earlier period when we were acting or behaving more in silos, this was difficult. That is no longer the case. So our endeavor is to gently and ever so cautiously nudge our clients into using multiple services without necessarily, it has to be done in a nice and appropriate manner, not in an opportunistic manner, because you don't want to, you have to do this. Again, it's a relationship of trust. So if there is a judgment call, we would rather err on the side of maintaining that trust rather than going after an additional deal somewhere. So I think that's something that we are very conscious of. Question on comparison with latent view analytics and Apple. Quite honestly, there is some overlap. but they're also different businesses. Latent View is actually largely a data analytics provider to big tech companies in the US. They're, as far as I know, and I say it with some caution here, that I don't believe they're functioning in the customer data marketing analytics space as much as we are doing in the Indian market. But in terms of skill sets and what they do and what we do, there is some similarity. But in terms of marketplaces addressed, there is not that much of a similarity. Affle is a delivery company at the transaction point and the interaction point. We tend to be more consultative. We tend to be a little more functioning at, let's say, further at the top end of the funnel rather than at the transaction point of the funnel. It's a very different company. They've done well. By the way, both these companies are great companies in terms of their performance. So, we are in this space, but we are also, let's say, our stripes are a little bit different than these two companies. Impact of AI and machine learning. Expecting this question, I asked our team to put together some answers. It's a 3-page document. I don't want to go into that. Rest assured that a lot of machine learning is at play, particularly in actually in all our businesses. I've got a pretty good fix on, there's no part of our business which is not touched by machine learning and generative AI. It is, however, not going to necessarily increase EBITDA margins or reduce employment as suggested. Those are, pardon me for saying so, but they tend to be simplistic deductions. Whenever somebody hears the word machine learning and AI, they think people are going to lose their jobs. No, that's not the case for us. What we do see them, we are already using a lot of it, and specific cases can be shared, but not at this forum. They are embedded into our processes. What they do is they enhance our capability to deliver a better solution to our clients. And as long as we can do that, and the client is, the clients keep asking us. So if we are not satisfying the clients on these dimensions, then the client will go somewhere looking someplace else. So the fact that that's not happening is a good sign. So we see these as efficiency enhancing tools. I made a statement that tech is not somebody or something that we should be slaves to. Tech is a tool, and we will use the tool. We have nothing to do. We have nothing to say about that. More tools there are, please bring them on, and we are happy to embrace and assess and see what is relevant for our clients. If it works for our clients, we'll be the first one to embrace it. If it is just another bright and shining object which comes and goes, we should have the maturity to let that bright and shiny object pass by. And I think that's something that we are very conscious of. Organic, inorganic growth, comments have been made. I will just add one layer to this. We have grown our businesses organically. We are not averse to inorganic growth. The inorganic growth, chasing, let's say, a merger or an acquisition deal should not be a distraction. We have a full agenda in front of us. At the same time, if there is a discipline or a skill set or a particular capability that, let's say, RK Swamy does not have, but the marketplace requires it, and if such acquisitions are available, and I'm right now we are talking to nobody, so this is a very general comment. We are open to adding to our discipline, and we will always make that assessment if such an opportunity comes by. But are we going to grow like our international holding companies have grown just through sheer financial aggregation? Quite frankly, I'm not sure that is our game. We are professionals in the business. We are not financiers aggregating professional services. I think there's a big difference, and we will hold to that strategy unless something dramatic happens which makes us change our mind. So I think, if I might just run through the questions. Repeat orders have been covered. Seasonality has been covered. Margins have been covered. Marketing, sales strategy broadly covered. Data analytics segment flatlining with respect to growth. I'm not sure it is flatlining. I think that business will continue to grow. Just want you to be mindful that these, when we have to bring on clients, it's a long sales cycle. People think, oh, company has data, so let's just go and get some data and let's just get on with it. It doesn't quite work like that. The client organization has to be ready internally to be able to absorb the data that is flowing through their system. It's a very complex process, actually, to set up the capacity to harness the data that is flowing through the system is in itself a big task. And therefore, these are long sales cycles, expensive. Many companies take multi-million-dollar bets on tech platforms and then they don't know what to do with it. So this is a problem that we encounter quite a bit. So I don't believe that segment will flatline, but it will grow in the growth may not be as smooth a curve, but we may suddenly hit 2 or 3 big deals and suddenly we'll see some big growth, and then we may go into what may appear like a quiet mode, but where we are still working the sales pipeline. So those are that's just the way the business flows. Working capital requirements, how do we expect it to evolve? Actually, our business is right now we are in a good spot. I think we will generate cash in the business. We will be able to manage our working capital cycles unless there are some extraordinary demands and extraordinary projects that are come our way that require us to step up our working capital investments upfront. If those situations arise, we will assess it and take a call. But right now, I don't expect any dramatic changes in the requirement for working capital. Let me just run through the questions. There's a question of market share in the overall industry. Actually, this is a business with a large number of players, single-digit market. This is not, I'm just picking an example. This is not the biscuit category where Parle-G can have a 25, 30, 40% market share. This is not like that. We are it's a bewildering, multidisciplinary set of offerings and services that are out there. And therefore, we don't look at market share, actually. We look at the fact that we need to grow in a particular holistic, high-quality way. And if we can achieve that, then that should be our sustained long-term objective. Then we'll if that is, when I don't say if, as we achieve that, I think whatever performance metrics anybody is throwing at us, I think can be taken care of. Question on global or local peer that we admire and why. Again, there is no one company like that, but I would say a global, in fact, as I already said, the mix of services that we have in terms of communications and data, analytics, research, this mix of companies, even in the global context, there are holding companies that have aggregated these disciplines, but there isn't one other company that I am aware of. And I think I know a decent amount about this sector. There is not another company in the world which has this aggregation of services under one roof. And, in that sense, I would only say that God has been kind. He has given us the courage and and helped us actually to create these disciplines. A global peer, nevertheless, you want to know a global peer that we admire, I would say our erstwhile partner, BBDO, is a global peer to admire, and surely in terms of the quality of content that they have been able to put out. And that company is, let me get this right, 9 plus 24, it's a 133-year-old company. So to have maintained consistent excellence over 133 years, I think is a global peer that I would not mind telling you is worth looking at that history. A local peer, If you want a name, I'll give you a name only because they're very, very good at what they do. And that is a company, it's a private company run by a very good friend of ours. It's called Ad Factors. And what they have achieved in the PR field is admirable. And the impact they've had in that particular line of business, again, is very, very high. So there you go. Those are a couple of companies names that I have managed to share with you. Ethical impact, ethical standards, sir, we don't have that problem. If something is not appropriate, we will simply not do it. No client can force us to execute something which is not correct. We are, RK Swamy is a founding member of the Advertising Standards Council. That council used to function from our office in the early years. So we have no such ethical issues or dilemmas to worry about. I think our values, how do you sustain values? I think we sustain values as we have sustained them for the last 50 years. I think we'll sustain them for the next 50 years. So let me run through the questions. Let me see if anything is missing. I think we are. Geopolitical issues affecting us? No, ma'am. Nothing so far has impacted us. I mean, the wars that have happened or the supply disruptions, we are not in that zone. Nothing has really, honestly, it's not a factor. We don't wake up in the morning and worry about geopolitical issues. How many customers after IPO? In the normal course of the business, we add, it's not unusual for us to add 15, 20, 25 customers a year. And that pace of growth in terms of new additions continues across our various businesses. There was one question on, I think, on the IPO, which is Prem Marketing Ventures and Evanston Pioneer Fund. Have they sold out? Yes, Prem Marketing Ventures have sold out. They had invested in the company in 2019, I believe. So 5 years later, they exited. The other fund is also in the course of exiting. These are old committed exits. There's nothing new. It's not because of anything that they've exited, but that was part of their business plan and they have exited for that reason. Any plan to list any of the subsidiaries? No, nothing now. I think these companies have a lot of headroom for growth. Let them grow, let them evolve, let them mature. And who knows? We are not saying no to anything, but do we have anything around in the immediate horizon? No, we don't have. So I think that, I don't know if, I think we have pretty much covered everything. If we will, once again, those of you who have given us written questions and you want numbers, we will answer them through an email. But there is one other thing that showed up here on the side through a chat box. What is the roadmap for the analytics business in terms of scale as well as margins? I think I covered this more or less. The analytics business is, as I said, it will grow. It is a business which is also on the basis, on the foundation of some strong infrastructure we are putting together. We are not, in general, we are not necessarily talking of numbers, so I'll skip the numbers part. When can we see the benefits of the IPO proceeds start flowing? I think the infrastructure will get built. This is a year, if you can give us this little bit of leeway, I would say that this is a year of building the infrastructure. So it does take time and it will take the course of the year. And there's no way that we can speed in any of these processes. It is what it is. And once the infrastructure is in place and we fill them out and the clients are engaging with us, and then the next cycle of further growth happens, that's the way it will go. So the proceeds, the benefits of the proceeds will happen, but it will happen in a measured way and not in a sudden way. So with that, I think we have answered pretty much all the questions. Again, if anything is missing or left out, please feel free to write to the secretarial team, and we will be answering many of these. If we need to put them together, our team will get back to you, and we have no hesitation in sharing any information with you. Thank you for that, and over to you, Sundar.
Chairman, you're on mute.
You requested to unmute, sir.
Oh, again, sorry. Thank you, Shekhar. It's been a long, response to many questions that were there. I think you have answered all the questions from the shareholders. But if there is a question which is unanswered, I request shareholder to please send us a mail at secretarial@rkswamy.com, and we'll endeavor to answer the same as appropriately and as elaborately as possible. I'd like to thank all the shareholders for attending this AGM today, and would like to conclude the proceedings of the AGM. As mentioned earlier, the remote e-voting facility is still available for the next 15 minutes for those members who have not yet voted. Authorize the company secretary to accept the scrutinizer's report on behalf of the company. As there is no further business to be transacted, I declare the 51st annual general meeting is closed. Thank you once again. I wish you a happy and healthy life. Good evening to all. Bye.